Hey everybody, this is Indy. My name's Christy, and we're going to do a little bit of lunging today. He's a Friesian thoroughbred. I bought him when he was 12 years old. He hadn't done much. He's a big dude. He's about 17 hands, 17 one-ish. You can see in the picture there, you know, from his side view that he's got a very big neck that likes to be up. and his back sort of has a little bit of a dip in it, and just, you know, from conformation, and that makes it a bit of a challenge to get him to work through his back. The last couple of years I knew that he needed to be stretching, but since working with Art to Ride's videos and website, I realized how much more we needed to be stretching in order to really get into those back muscles, and the difference has been incredible. He's a new horse after only, 3 or 4 times working like this. Today in the video, he's not stretching as much as he does normally, but that is because it is we're in Ontario, Canada, and it is winter. It's in the middle of this is now March, I guess, but it is incredibly windy today, and you can't hear it in the video, but the arena sounds like it might blow away. So it's pretty wild. So I don't blame him for being alert and checking things out, because it is so loud. But anyways, here he is. He's very stiff today. Our footing outside on turnout is rock solid with no snow. So taking into account his turnout situation at the moment, when he goes outside, they're sort of walking like they're on eggshells because the footing is not great. So when they come in the arena to work, the footing is great. So they are very happy to get in on good footing, and it just takes them a little bit, though, just like us, to loosen up those muscles because they're tight, without being able to move around as well out in their paddocks like normal. So he has started to stretch down on his own. He has now clued in that it is so much more pleasant with the endorphins being released to put his head down. And there he's being a bit cheeky, but I don't mind, because I don't blame him. It's winter, it's cold, he's stiff, and the wind is crazy. So I don't get after him, I just let him be, especially in the warm-up here. I don't have side reins on or a Shambo on him. In the past, people had tied him down in draw reins because he is very powerful, and he's the lead in the paddock, so he can get curled up very easily with this neck, and I wouldn't say he breaks over in the 3rd and 4th vertebrae badly, but he gets very tight in his neck. So I started lunging him just with nothing, and just trying to encourage him to reach down, last year, after trying to lunge him with side reins, etc. It just wasn't working, and he wasn't reaching down and out the way he should. So I feel like, not, like I said, not in this video necessarily, but he's been reaching much, much better over his neck, over his back, and getting that big neck of his stretching out, because he likes to shorten it so much, instead of using his core and his back. So here we're still trotting, and apparently, hopping into canter. And again, like I said, he's stiff with this cold and the footing and the wind. So his canter, he's not really stretching over his back as much as he should be. But he will start there. There he's starting to reach down, and he goes, oh yes, that is much better. So we'll see him progress into better movement, and I'm just encouraging him to pay attention with all that wind carrying on, and the siding and the roof flapping because of the wind. He just loses his focus a little bit on what we're doing, and is checking other things out. His canter has improved, but is definitely his, he's got a lovely canter when you ride him. It's very lofty, but he definitely tends to get his back down and head up, which is obviously the opposite of what we want. And it's proven to be difficult to try to do counter canter. And then obviously the changes. He's schooling second level, or he was, and we were working on the changes for third level. Since starting to work with the Art to Ride program and stretching across that back, I've really realized how much stronger he needs to be and more comfortable with that neck lower, back higher flexibility before we can go back to those moves. I don't think it's going to take him long once he gets these muscles and this flexibility, coordination to get back there, because he does know all the moves, you know, the leg yield, shoulder in, half pass, the counter canter. But once he gets consistent in that reach over his back to the contact, all of that is going to get so much better. So he is, there, that's better there. He's starting to reach more over that back as he settles into it and realizes it's just the wind, and his body stretches out. He'll start to let go and put his nose down. In other sessions with him, he is happy to have his nose, you know, on the ground and reaching over the back, really stepping under with the hind legs. When I got him, his hind legs were super stabby, I like to call them. They're sort of up and down, stabby into the ground instead of reaching under. Instead of reaching under and lifting his back and his core working, he was just up and down with the hind legs. He had no real push from the hind legs. He is a big horse and powerful, like I said, and so he was held together a lot. When I first got him, if I let go of the reins, he didn't know what to do. He couldn't hold himself up. In the canter, he could not hold a canter. And I knew that was a weakness and a disconnect from the back end to the front end, and a weakness behind. So I did, with the knowledge I had, I started getting him reaching and going forward and on a long rein. And sometimes, I say forward, but too fast, sort of too frantic, instead of carrying himself. And definitely now, knowing what I know, knowing that he wasn't really truly using his core the way he should be. So he sort of has a bad habit here in the video. He has a bad habit of trying to come in at the walk, so we're working on that. And when we halt here in a minute, he likes to try to turn into me. And that's something we're working on. When I got him, he was super lazy as well. So now he is definitely getting more forward in his thinking, especially since working with the Art to Ride program. It's so much easier for him to go forward. So we'll change directions and do a little lunge the other way. Same thing. Just getting him reaching back. He's, if I was going to say which handed he is, I would say he's a left hooved horse. Just like horses are left-handed and right-handed. I'm a left-handed person, and if you told me I had to write with my right hand, I would not be happy about it. But if you stood there and kept asking me to use my right hand, I would use my right hand, and it would get better and better and better, for writing. And he would be the same. His right hind leg is weaker, and I have to keep encouraging him to use his right hind leg because he would prefer not to. I can't explain to him that it's better for him if he would use both hind legs evenly, but he would prefer not. So I just keep reminding him, lunging as well as when I'm riding him, to keep pushing with that right hind leg. So for me, with this horse, the fact that he is moving his neck around is a good start for him, because when he did come to me, he was super stuck in his neck and couldn't move it anywhere. He, over the last, year, I suppose, right flexion has been very difficult, but any kind of bending to the right. But since the last 3 or 4 rides using the Art to Ride program, he's able to flex right, which has been incredible to me. So many aha moments after using this program, and sort of going back to the basics with him and saying, okay, let's make sure that we have A, B, and C before we move on to everything else. So there he's starting to let go, and you see there he loses his hind legs because of the disconnect. You know, he doesn't have the flexibility or the core strength yet to really stretch over his back, and there he starts again. I'm so pleased with already the progression, even though we're not there yet. I'm super excited about where this is going. When I teach students and explain it to parents, I explain it's like going to school and going to grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. You can't skip to university or high school without having completed those grades first, because when it comes down to it, you're going to fail. You're not going to be able to pass those classes at university level if you haven't finished all the grades up and through high school. So I feel like we've maybe skipped some grades here in his training, and now going back and filling in those gaps to make sure that he has a good understanding, and again, the muscle and flexibility through the muscle and through his body is where it needs to be to go back and work on getting the changes in the canter so that we can progress up into 3rd level for competing. That would be my goal for him, is to get him being able to be a 3rd level horse consistently. But training him like this has been so rewarding already in such a short period of time. So I can see the benefit to this and how happy he is working with this stretching. And although there on the lunging, his head is clearly not stretching yet. Like I said, the wind and the cold weather and the lack of being able to move properly on turnout is a problem for us at the moment that we have to accommodate for, and not be too rigid in our thinking in how a training session is going to go here, because we have no control over the weather and what's going to happen. So I'm pretty flexible in my thinking with them and seeing where they're at each day to make a decision on what will be the best exercises to work on. So you can see now he's starting to open up. He's starting to move better, even though we only have glimpses of stretching down. I'm pleased with how much better his hind legs are moving and freer in the time that we've been lunging here. And there he starts to bring his neck down. And like I said earlier, just the fact that he moves his neck right now is a great start for him, because he was very stuck in his neck. At least that's what it felt like. And now understanding more of the biomechanics, that he was clearly stuck in his back. So I'm pleased that things are moving, even though they're not exactly where we want them yet. It's a good start for him. And there he goes again. He starts reaching and he realizes, oh, I can do that. You know, he's got to get the confidence to be able to let go and realize that, oh, I do have core muscles and I can hold myself up, especially now that his hind legs are moving so much better than when I first got him. And he's realizing he has so much more to his body than just a head and neck, which I think is all he thought he had before. And he just gotten used to using it because it is so prominent, that great big neck of his. So here he goes, starts to stretch down a little more. And every time he stretches down, you can see the movement completely changes. And I feel like it rolls right through his body. To me, how I see it is it's like a kink in a hose. And when their back isn't working, it's like having that kink in the hose and the water can't go through. And whatever you want to do with the water at the end of the hose is, up to you. But you can't have a kink and expect to be able to, say, fill a water bucket. So we have to get the kink out for the water to be able to flow through and then, shift the weight back or whatever we're going to do with it. But the kink has to go first. So that's where we're starting with things with him, is getting his kinks out and thus the neck moving around and starting to reach down. So in another video, you're going to see me riding him and showing, some of that, starting to use his back and get that neck lower and roll through his body. And again, this is a bad habit that we're dealing with, him coming in on the circle, and then he doesn't quite understand the fact that he has to stay out on the lunging and stop out on the lunge. But like I said, we're working on that. Great, so that's us lunging, and we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, this is Christy Newman, and this is my horse Indy. And we've had a previous video with lunging, and now this is a video of us working with me riding. Indy's, I would say, around 16 now. I bought him when he was 12. He's a Friesian thoroughbred. He hadn't done much when I bought him at 12 years old, so I kind of feel like his body is maybe younger just because he hasn't had to work too hard in his life. So we started working with the Art to Ride program about 3 or 4, sessions ago, I guess you want to call it. But we had been working on stretching his big neck a lot over the years that I've had him. When I got him, if I let the reins go, he could not hold himself up. He had no idea what to do with that freedom of rein. And in the lunging video of Indy, we talked about his hind legs were very stabby. They didn't move. He was very lazy, just really super behind the leg, and he's got the conformation where he's got a very big neck. It's set on very high, which is sort of typical with Friesians. And his back has got a little dip in it. Just, that's his conformation, and that's what we're working with. So that's cool. But he does have the tendency to get his head up and his back down, and then nothing kind of happens. We get a kink in the body, and then he gets stuck. So that was the best way to describe it. When I got him, he just felt stuck. So just in my head, understanding energy and how things have to move, and just with my own body doing a lot of yoga, I just felt like we had to get the kink out of his body somehow. I didn't realize until starting to work with the Art to Ride program how much he had to reach down. So here we have him starting to reach way down, which is a lot for him, because even just putting his head down to level with the ground was tricky at one time. And what I'm noticing in this is that when he does reach down, all of a sudden the kink is gone out of his body. I describe it like a kink in a hose. and the water is trying to run through the hose from the hind legs, which is the energy, and it gets stopped up in this kink, and then I can't fill the water bucket or have the energy get to the bit and then be able to do something with it, whether I'm going to shift him back and have him, carry himself more or what. I feel like the energy has to go all the way from the hind legs to the nose, and it wasn't. It was getting stopped up somewhere. So I had got him a saddle custom fit to him. I have had a chiropractor out for him because just making sure that his body was all right and made sure it was comfortable, so that we could really get into this core work. And his teeth have been done, all those good things, just to rule out any reasons why he wouldn't want to work, because I don't want to go running in a shoe that is too small and gives me blisters. So I don't blame them for not wanting to go in saddles that don't fit, or teeth that aren't done, or if something's out of alignment. Those things all need to be checked first. I think, because I feel like it rules out things that could be very simple, like teeth being done. So I did all that. And so here he is now. The walk has changed incredibly. When he gets that head down, it's like a roll through his whole body of energy. You can just feel it coming through from his hind legs, up through your seat, up, out the shoulder, down that neck to that bit. And it just feels incredible. And it's amazing how I just didn't realize how much lower he needed to stretch. I thought he was stretching. So I'm sure there's lots of people in the same boat that feel like their horses are stretching and they are doing the right things, but don't realize it's just a little bit more and then you'll have it. So I've started leg yield with him here. I find that we're in Ontario, Canada, and it is cold. We're in March, and the wind is incredible today. The arena sounded like it was blowing away. So it's incredible. And the footing outside, we don't have any snow at the moment. It all melted. And when we have snow, the horses on their turnout can run around and play and be horses. But right now we have frozen mud. So as you can imagine, that is hard as a rock and lumpy. So they don't move a lot outside right now. So taking all that into account, he really needs to just loosen up his poor little muscles. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just letting him reach, getting him comfortable with really reaching down. We have already lunged today. I lunge him before I get on because he is a big guy, and I describe him he's like a diesel engine. It takes these big guys with really big muscle mass a little while to get warmed up. So I just give him that time. I know that. No pressure on him. We just take our time and get warmed up the way he needs to warm up. So we're going to go the other way here. You can see in the walk, as soon as he stretches properly, I say properly, but low enough, there he goes. And then the energy just goes through. And so I'm always rewarding him. I give him a little pat, or I tell him he's good. He likes to be told he's amazing. So you have to accommodate sometimes horses' egos. There. And then he reaches after his little leg yield there. I'm not expecting a lot from him today in that leg yield, like I said, because of the footing outside on turnout and how cold it is and how crazy windy it is. I'm not going to get too particular on what that he needs to do this, that, or the other thing. I just want to see him reaching, letting go, breathing. There, even better. So the more he does leg yield, and I've known this for a few years with him, he needs to loosen up his back left and right. Laterally, longitudinally. But just like our bodies, you need to move just in general and stretch all those kinks out. So that is what I'm doing at the moment. He can get his nose out a little bit more. That would be nice. That's where we're going with this. He, in the lunging video, I talked about him. He likes to curl up. He did like to curl up, and he couldn't move his neck at all. He was very stuck. Like I said, I felt like there was a kink somewhere, but I thought it was in his neck at the base of his withers. Little did I know it was actually in his back, which is just learning. And the Art to Ride program, that's why it just resonated with me, was because I could totally feel the difference once he let go in his back and his core. He's never been tough on the bit. He's not heavy in his mouth or in the hand at all. The contrary, he curls up and gets away from the contact. So I want him to reach down and pull a little bit. That would make me very happy. And he's starting to. So today is, like I said, a tough day because of the wind and our conditions in March in Ontario, but he's getting it. And there's more swing, even there, more swing through his shoulder, through his hip, and right through my seat. And I'm not having to do much. I, use my core to push him to the contact, and then just let him reach and allow him to do it, allow him to carry himself, and allow him to figure this out. I don't feel that I can micromanage with him. Like I said, when he came to me, you couldn't let the reins go, or he would just run. He didn't, or stop. He didn't. Sometimes going down the long side, I would be trotting and he would just stop trotting, and it didn't matter what I did. And it wasn't out of being bad. It just felt like a kink. And now, this just feels so great, even though we're not perfect yet, and he has to get more consistent. It feels like a million times better because he's happy and everything's swinging. He just doesn't have the muscles yet, so he has to keep working on these basics to get the muscles to be able to do this consistently and to be able to move up the levels with his ability. He was schooling second, third level moves, so leg, yield, shoulder, and half pass, canter, counter, canter, and starting changes. But the changes were super inconsistent and really uncomfortable and just super unorganized. And I realize now it was because we have no muscles. Funny thing. So you have to have the flexibility, the core strength to be able to do those things, and he just didn't. So back to the basics, back to working on developing that strength in his core, which I don't think will take long because he's very willing to work and loves it. So that makes it really a lot of fun. So there he's getting behind the vertical with his head and neck. But we're getting there. So there's a lot of buts here. But he is getting there. And there he's starting to reach and actually push his nose out, which is great. We had skipped some grades, I think, in school, which caused him to fail, which causes people and horses to fail when they move up to university and didn't do grade 9. You need to do all your grades and learn everything in every grade before you can jump to university and be successful. And he had jumped to university without having the foundation of, grade 8, grade 9, for example, and was starting to fail at it. And feeling that, I'm very thankful that we found this program, because it really makes sense. And you can feel the difference immediately in the horse in day 1. Like I said, this is day 3 or 4 sessions with him like this. And there, he's already reaching down. But there, he puts his head up because he doesn't have the core strength. So just like a gymnast on a beam, they put their arm, when you first go on a balance beam, you're walking along it and you instantly put your hands out to hold your balance, and that's what he's doing. He's using his head and neck like we would use our arms to get his balance, and obviously as he gets stronger, just like a gymnast, he will use his core. You see the gymnast on the balance beam doing back handsprings and back tucks on that little skinny beam without sticking their arms out, and that's all coming from core strength. the same with the horse. You'll see him start to stretch consistently once he has that core strength. So that's the end of his work today, because that was a great day for him. So I'm really thrilled with how he is progressing. Like I said, we're not there yet, but it's a starting point, and it's very exciting where this is going to go. I'm really looking forward to it, and riding like this is so rewarding and fun, and the horses love it. So lots of treats, and I like to bribe my horses. So at the end here, of course, he's going to get treats, which he looks forward to. So it just makes it a really positive experience, and look at him stretching now. It's just easy for him. And he looks forward to that with those endorphins. And, he looks forward to coming out and working. And there he's offering to go forward. That's totally absurd for him. So it's exciting. He lost his balance, but at least it was a forward thinking. So very, very exciting. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Hey everybody, this is Christy Newman, and this is my horse Triton. Triton is a 10-year-old Hanoverian thoroughbred that I bred. He was born here at the farm. He is 17-1 or 2. He's enormous. He's a big dude. He is, he's got a bit of ADD, I think. He's very thoroughbred. He's very, he's very sensitive, I guess is the best way to describe him. He is, he wants to please. He is constantly on trying to figure out what he's supposed to be doing. And so he's fun to work with, but also you have to be very, very patient with him because of his personality. So Art to Ride program, which is what we've started working with him on. He's worked, so maybe this is our 4th session with the Art to Ride program. I'm working with him on the ground before I get on. He's not a horse that I lunge because it makes him, it stresses him out. For whatever reason, I don't know why, he just gets stressed out. So I'm hoping that after a few more sessions like this, lunging will become a part of our program where we can relax into it and then work with him that way. But on the ground has been, this in-hand work has been wonderful for him. He loves it. So I'm working with him in hand just to get him reaching. He had, I should tell you, he had an injury where he ended up jumping onto a fence gate. He spooked and landed with his stifle on a fence gate. He had 14 bone chips in his left stifle that have all been removed. I guess he was around 6 at the time. And obviously he compensated with his right hind leg, and so you'll see it here in the videos. Just a little background on him. You'll see his right hind leg likes to cross under his body a lot, and I suspect that's from that injury, and now it just wants to go there. The muscle memory is telling that right hind to go under his body more, and so he's not always super even in his hind legs. I've had chiropractors look at him and massage therapy. He's great. His body is good, but his muscles have to be retrained. And so I've worked with lots of different coaches with him, and nothing has really stuck. Like I was feeling frustrated with him because he is super sensitive and he's a very big mover. And with the injury, I've always felt that he was stuck in his body somewhere, and I always just thought, oh well, it's from his injury with the bone chips. Never really making excuses for it, but knowing that he's got an unevenness in his muscles in his hind end, and so I never really found the right thing for him, right program for him, and because he does get frazzled very quickly, this has been wonderful for him. So we come into the arena each time now. in hand. And we just walk around like this, getting him reaching down and letting go on his back. He actually, this time he came into the arena super chilled out, happy, like excited to work and totally chilled out. And for him, he used to come into the arena in a panic. And it just felt frantic and frazzled the whole time. I don't know how else to describe it. Now it feels amazing, and even working with him in the barn is easier. He's just way happier, and I feel like we're going to get somewhere now. Game on. So it's exciting. So here he's reaching. And like I said, he's not consistent. He's never been in draw reins, or he's lunged in side reins in the past. But he breaks over in the third and fourth vertebrae. My other horses don't do that. So I don't know how this happened. I suspect just from lack of using his core, it's happened. And so I actually didn't ride him for about 6 months. Leading up to the last maybe month I've been working with him again, because I just felt like he needed to chill out. His muscles needed a break, his brain needed a break, and then we found the Art to Ride program. So talk about absolutely perfect timing. And look at him stretching there. I mean, he couldn't put his head down. There's no way he would put his head down before on him or on the ground. Like, I knew he needed to reach, but I don't think it's going to happen, even though he needed to do that. And now by working with him in hand, he is now reaching. It's brilliant. Not perfect yet, but at least it's starting. So it's exciting. So as soon as he starts reaching, his back moves, and then his hind legs, funny thing, they become even and start pushing correctly, and he moves evenly. So it's just mind-blowing, super exciting. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just incredible. So here he's still reaching. He's wanting to reach. He's enjoying it because of the endorphins that are released when he is reaching. He's like super chilled out now. He's a chilled out dude, and I love it because that's not that wasn't his go-to before. His go-to was frazzled and panic. And it's funny because the rest, he's been here with me his whole life, and I don't know how that happened because the other horses here are pretty chilled out. So, that was it's incredible working him in hand there where he's reaching and taking that contact. So the next video will be him with me on him and him under saddle. Hey everybody, I'm Christy Newman, and this is my horse Triton. Triton is a 10-year-old Hanoverian thoroughbred. He was born here at the farm. I've had him since he was born. And he is about 17.1 or 17.2. He's a big guy. He's very green because at 6-ish he landed on a gate, got some bone chips in his left stifle, had them all removed, and has been on and off of work, trying to figure out what is the best way to work with this horse. He is super, super sensitive. He wants to please all the time, but he gets stressed out if he's not pleasing or if he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. So it's been a challenge, and I've been trying to find the right thing to be doing with him, and I think we have found it with Art to Ride. So I did a video of him in hand, and the in-hand work with him before I get on has been incredible. It has changed him completely. You can't hear it here in the video, but the arena sounds like we are going to be blown away to Oz. It's incredible wind here in Ontario, Canada today, and we're in March, and it's cold. I wouldn't say it's super cold, but we have no snow at the moment, so the horses can't run around outside, and the wind is incredible. So there's a lot of things we have to take into account right now at this time of year. So we're just going to walk today, and that's all I'm doing with him. This is about the 4th session I've worked with him with the Art to Ride program. He's not even the same horse. I couldn't have ridden him in here before this program, before getting him to reach like this, he would be unrideable. He would have been spooking, jumping all over the countryside, just a total Fruit Loop, and stressed right out. And I just don't, I like horses to be chilled out when we ride, just because I know it's better for them. I don't want my horses stressed out. The whole farm, we have, horses get what they need here. So we want horses to be happy and relaxed and enjoying their work. So when he wasn't, it was stressing me out because I wanted to be able to ride him, but it just wasn't productive. So he had about 6 months off, and I said that in the in-hand video about him, just for his brain to chill and for his body to chill. He likes to break over in the third and fourth vertebrae. He's never been in draw reins, etc., but I suspect it's from lack of using those hind legs of his because of muscle imbalances from his injury and surgery. So he likes to cross under with his right hind. You'll see that in the video. I can't wait to see later videos once we've done more of this training, because even in a short period of time with only 4 rides like this, after ride 1, he was a different horse. So he's moving more evenly with both hind legs. So basically we're going to retrain this old muscle memory, and I'm super excited about seeing where it's going. I mean, the fact that he's reaching down, he couldn't do that before, and now he's relaxed. The endorphins are being released, because when their head is down, endorphins released, head up, adrenaline is released. So he was the king of the adrenaline, which then caused just a cascade of problems that I just felt like I was fighting against all the time, and it just wasn't fun. And it wasn't fun for him. So now we're totally rocking here. I'm really excited about it. So there he's reaching. He's getting that nose out, which is amazing for him. When he does that, the energy goes through his body, and it just feels like easy. And you can just feel him totally chill out and relax, breathe, and everything starts to swing. There, amazing. And he's trying to take a contact. He's one that would curl up again away from the contact. So this is going to be really cool to see where this goes, and see how he comes along. There he's curling up again, gets behind the vertical, and then his nose goes out again. So there's glimpses of where we're going with this. And then he sort of is just trying to figure it out. It takes him a little bit. So I've noticed in the 4 rides, this being the 4th, it takes him a good few minutes. Yeah, there. And then he pokes it out, he breathes, he relaxes, he settles into it. When he's curling up and kind of unsteady with his head sort of bobbing around, his walk starts to look the same, sort of bobs around, instead of 4-beated, relaxed, flat-footed, stretching, quiet walk. But you can see every once in a while he gets it. And I can feel the difference. Sitting on him, it's immediate, the difference. So, yep, there. The more he goes here, the more he settles into it, and he thinks, oh, this is great. This is a great way to go. And the roof sounds like it's going to blow off the building. So just to put this into perspective, he's totally fine. He feels amazing. He's focused on what we're doing. He's trying to figure it out, which is his thing. That's what he always does. He's always trying to figure it out. So I'm so pleased that now with asking him to reach like this and poke that nose out, it's such a relaxed way of training and a very happy way of training, that he has taken to it immediately, because he is so sensitive. It makes this type of training that much more. Horses will put up with things, especially the quiet ones, even though they shouldn't put up with some of the things that riders do. They do. But a horse like him, he does not. He just says, no, I don't think so. He wants to understand. He wants to be good. Amazing stretch again over his back. And when he does that, it just feels like we're floating along. It's incredible. His back moves, and he is a huge mover. So the more we do this, the more he's going to be able to carry that crazy big movement that he has, and just allow for it. So, yeah, there he is. Hey, everybody. I'm Christy Newman, and this is a horse I'm working with in hand. Her name is Callie. She is a Knabstrupper. I never know if I'm pronouncing that right. Well, she's not. She's been approved into the breeding book for the Knabstrupper. She's part Gelderlander. She is an incredible mover. She got a 9 at her inspection out of 10. She's an amazing mare. She has never worked in hand with me. This is our very first session after learning and working with the Art to Ride program. This is my first session with her after working with my own horses. She is a little confused at the moment. She's like, "Why are you walking near me?" I don't understand. So she's just trying to figure this out. She's very, very smart. She, in the past, used to curl up and break over at the 3rd and 4th vertebrae, which is common for some horses. And she has an incredible amount of power from those hind legs of hers. So for a long time, she didn't know what to do with all that energy that she was creating from the hind legs. And so we're going to see with the in-hand work today if we can get her to reach down, start breathing a bit more, and let go in that back of hers. Once she gets rid of that kink in her back and starts using that core, I think we're going to see a pretty incredible horse. There she goes. She's starting to think, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I can put my head down. There she goes. She's breathing a bit more. She's going, oh, interesting. Okay. And you'll see now as she starts to realize what I'm asking, the walk is starting to open up as well. I suspect, though, the walk was just short because she was like, why are you following me so close? So now she's cluing in what I'm doing. I don't work with her this closely ever. She's at our farm and she works, and you know, I talk to her owners, and but we've never, you know, I lead her in and out from the paddock, but that's about it. So we're just sort of getting to know each other is probably the best way to say it here. So there she's poking her nose out, which is amazing. So her go-to for a long time was to curl up behind the vertical, not take a contact, and just curl up that neck of hers, and then just push from the hind legs, and she would lose her balance a lot. Because the push, like I said, is so huge from those hind legs of hers. The power was crazy, and she just didn't know what to do with it. And I suspect because she didn't know to use her core, she had troubles staying in balance. And the forward, sometimes I think we mistake forward. It's actually running to catch their balance. It's like when you're walking along and you trip on something, you run to catch your balance. The horses do the same thing. They look like they're going forward, but they're not really. They're actually just running, trying to hold themselves up. And so until somebody, either, you know, if you're wearing a backpack, someone grabs your backpack when you're tripping and pulls you back up and says, whoa, hold yourself up, or you can get your core muscles to stop you and pull up and get upright again, you're going to be continuing to run to catch your balance until you trip, which is never fun. So the horses, again, are the exact same. So we're trying to encourage her to get reaching, to get that. Yeah, there, that's a little bit better. We're getting there. It takes confidence. I mean, we talk about confidence in jumping, and the horses and riders need to gain confidence, to jump fences. But there's a lot of confidence involved with dressage, flat work, teaching them that they have 4 legs, not just the front 2, not just a neck and a head. I think I describe it to students as like I'm left-handed. I know I have a right hand, but like I can't really use it very well. Like if you made me start writing with my right hand, it's not going to be great. I don't use it if I don't have to for writing. So the horses are the same. They have these hind legs, and they don't really know how to use them necessarily. They know they're there. They come along with the body, but we have to teach them how to actually use those hind legs. And using the core is part of it. I see it in my head a little bit like if anybody's seen the movie Toy Story, and there's the Slinky dog in Toy Story. There's a front end and a back end of the wiener dog, and the middle section is all Slinky. And we have to get that Slinky to lift up and actually use their core muscles between the front end and the back end of the horse. So here she's totally confused. What do you mean go right? I just went left. So she's figuring this out. And patience, right? You have to be super patient with them so she can understand. You can see her ears are back listening to me. She's not grumpy. She's not upset, but she's like, I do not know what on earth you want. Now we're starting to go. Yeah, it's a bit better. So right now I'm just trying to get her walking, breathing, and understanding that, it's all super cool. And yeah, there we go. So she's starting to move her neck, which is step 1. When they're stuck in their neck and stressed out, it's like when we bring our shoulders up towards our ears and we're stuck there. It's the same when their neck isn't moving. It's like stuck, and it's coming from the back, and it's their whole body, and it's the kink. I mean, there's several different ways that they get kinked up. That's one of them. So she starts to move her neck. She's starting to breathe. Now her neck is starting to come down. She's like, oh, okay, this is cool. I've got this. This is actually really super easy. And like I said, this is her very first time doing any of this in hand. And so it's kind of cool to be able to see a horse right from the first day in hand. Like I said, she has been ridden for a long time. She's been doing different types of things, but now we're coming around to this type of training because we all feel that you have to fill in the knowledge in grades, 1, 2, 3, 4, up through primary school. We have to fill in that knowledge for the horses as well as the strength before they can move into high school and then move on to university. So we're going back with all of our horses actually at the farm, and now with the Art to Ride program, and just reestablishing like where are we at with each of the horses. And it's been really, really cool because they're all kind of different, and we have a lot of horses that have come from different sort of situations, and it's been really interesting. So here she's starting to really, there she goes. She's starting to really get it. Her ears are out to the side, so she's super chilled out. She's like, oh, this is like actually kind of cool and fun and relaxing because of those endorphins that start being released as she's allowed to reach down. And that neck is moving. You see the shoulder, there. And then everything starts to roll. So the more she does this, the more she stretches even more, the better she's going to feel. Let's be honest. We all feel better when we start to do yoga, even though we maybe don't know we need to do yoga. So that was awesome first session. So I like to bribe them, of course. So she's going to get bribed. And
yeah, that's it. Stretch tall, close that leg. Yes, good. Keep coming through the turn, close that leg. Nice. This has got better swing to it today. Let that neck come down even further. So your reins are like sticks and you're pushing his nose out with your abs, and your reins, instead of being like ropes, are going to be like sticks, and we're pushing his nose out. Yes, exactly. Shoulders tall. Feel like almost like your hip is leading the way a little bit, just so you're using those low abs. Good girl. Good. Push his nose out again. Yeah, staying tall with your shoulders, so you're staying out of his way so he can do his job. And then we're closing up the leg to get the hind legs further underneath. Okay, let's come across the diagonal there. We'll change directions. Good. Close that leg up again. The reach is good. Now we have to close up the hind legs. Push them through it. Yeah, I got a little bit behind the leg there. That's okay. Still just warming up anyways. Good. Outside rein. Inside leg. Push that nose down with your abs. Yeah. The abs below your belly button. Good. A little bit of outside rein. Get that neck a little lower again. Good. Outside rein, inside leg. Yeah, he can do it. You think about breathing, and then he'll think about breathing, so that he lets go of some of that tension this way. Good. Stretch up. Yeah. Push that neck out. Good girl. That's better. Yes. Good. Keep coming now with the hind legs. So once we got the kink out, we can turn up the energy from the hind legs and get that energy going through his whole body. It's kind of all at the same time, but once he reaches and the kink's out, you can really turn up that energy, and then his head will come down and his neck will come down even longer, and he's gonna reach and stretch through that back even more. Make sure you're not looking to his left ear. We wanna stay square with him so that we're not throwing him off balance by accident. Good. Neck down and nose out. Push that nose out with your reins like they're sticks. Yeah, good girl. That's getting better. Yes. Good. That was even better. Stretching. Thinking about our rhythm. Yeah, there. Good. He's getting it. Good boy. Yep, tall again. And close that leg. Yep, core muscles. Push that nose down and out. Yeah, and then you can feel that swing even more through his back. Good, down and out again. Think of his back coming up and down with that seat. With your seat as you rise. Good, there, good boy. He's just getting rid of more of that tension. Yeah, he's gonna start sneezing soon. Good boy. Yeah, outside rein again. Close that leg, stretch tall, and push the nose out again. Use those lower abs. Good, and then relax. Good boy. When he does it, then you can sit quiet. And then again, readjust him again. Yeah, readjust his balance, get that neck down. Because he can only hold it for so long, right? And then he's going to lose it, so get him into position and then allow him to do it. Yeah, good. Close that leg up. Better. Good boy. He just has to settle into that. Let's come across the diagonal again. Yeah, good. Push that nose out. Close the hind legs up. Look around where you're going to go. Close both legs. Ride both sides of his body. Like a water slide, right? We've got two sides to a water slide. Otherwise, when you go around a corner on a water slide, you're going to fly out the side. It's the same with the horse. You got to ride both sides of his body through the turns. Straight ahead. Nice. Using that core again to push his nose down and out. Use your reins like sticks to push his nose forward and out. Yes, good boy. That's getting better. Amazing. Much better. Yeah, exactly. Tell him he's good and give him a little scratch next time with your inside hand and just say, yeah, that's it. Yeah, better swing already. Down and out. Close that leg. Good. Yeah, now the energy is coming through his whole body, and his body will start to roll in the trot. Like you can feel it coming through his whole body, through his rib cage, through his back. Excellent. Yeah, good boy.